Hadith 134. Narrated Ibn Umar, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "All of you are guardians and are responsible for your wards. The ruler is a guardian, and the man is a guardian of his family, the lady is a guardian and is responsible for her husband's house and his offspring, and so all of you are guardians and are responsible for your wards." Hadith 135. Narrated Anas, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, took an oath that he would not visit his wives for 1 month, and he sat in an upper room belonging to him. Then, on the 29th day he came down. It was said, "O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. You had taken an oath not to visit your wives for 1 month." He said, "The present month is of 29 days. Hadith 136. Narrated Salama, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, took an oath that he would not enter upon some of his wives for 1 month. But when 29 days had elapsed, he went to them in the morning or evening. It was said to him, "O Allah's Prophet, you had taken an oath that you would not enter upon them for 1 month. He replied, "The month can be of 29 days. Hadith 137. Narrated Ibn Abbas, one morning we saw the wives of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, weeping, and every one of them had her family with her. I went to the mosque and found that it was crowded with people. Then Umar bin al-Khattab came and went up to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, who was in his upper room. He greeted him but nobody answered. He greeted again, but nobody answered. Then the gatekeeper called him and he entered upon the Prophet, and asked, "Have you divorced your wives?" The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "No, but I have taken an oath not to go to them for 1 month." So the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, stayed away from his wives for 29 days and then entered upon them. Hadith 138. Narrated Abdullāh bin Zama, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "None of you should flog his wife as he flogs a slave and then have sexual intercourse with her in the last part of the day." Hadith 139. Narrated Aisha, an Ansari woman gave her daughter in marriage and the hair of the latter started falling out. The Ansari women came to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and mentioned that to him and said, "My daughter's husband suggested that I should let her wear false hair." The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "No, don't do that, for Allah sends his curses upon such ladies who lengthen their hair artificially." Hadith 140. Narrated Aisha, regarding the verse, "If a wife fears cruelty or desertion on her husband's part." Surah 4, Ayah 128. It concerns the woman whose husband does not want to keep her with him any longer, but wants to divorce her and marry some other lady, so she says to him, "Keep me and do not divorce me, and then marry another woman, and you may neither spend on me, nor sleep with me." This is indicated by the statement of Allah, "There is no blame on them if they arrange an amicable settlement between them both, and such settlement is better." Surah 4, Ayah 128. Hadith 141. Narrated Jabir, we used to practice coitus interruptus during the lifetime of Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. Hadith 142. Narrated Jabir, we used to practice coitus interruptus while the Quran was being revealed. Jabir added, we used to practice coitus interruptus during the lifetime of Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, while the Quran was being revealed. Hadith 143. Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, we got female captives in the war booty and we used to do coitus interruptus with them. So we asked Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, about it and he said, "Do you really do that?" Repeating the question thrice, "There is no soul that is destined to exist but will come into existence, till the day of resurrection." Hadith 144. Narrated Al-Qasim, Aisha said that whenever the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, intended to go on a journey, he drew lots among his wives, so as to take one of them along with him. During one of his journeys the lot fell on Aisha and Hafsa. When night fell, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, would ride beside Aisha and talk with her. One night Hafsa said to Aisha, "Won't you ride my camel tonight and I ride yours, so that you may see me and I see you, in new situation?" Aisha said, "Yes, I agree." So Aisha rode, and then the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, came towards Aisha's camel on which Hafsa was riding. He greeted Hafsa and then proceeded, beside her, till they dismounted, on the way. Aisha missed him, and so, when they dismounted, she put her legs in the adkir and said, "O Lord, Allah! Send a scorpion or a snake to bite me, for I am not to blame him." The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him. Hadith 145. Narrated Aisha, Sauda bint Zama gave up her turn to me, Aisha, and so the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, used to give me, Aisha, both my day and the day of Sauda. Hadith 146. Narrated Anas, the tradition of the Prophet is that if someone marries a virgin and he has already a matron wife with him, then he should stay with the virgin for 7 days, and if someone marries a matron and he has already a virgin wife with him, then he should stay with her for 3 days. Hadith 147. Narrated Anas, it is the Prophet's tradition that if someone marries a virgin and he has already a matron wife, then he should stay for 7 days with her, the virgin, and then by turns, and if someone marries a matron and he has already a virgin wife, then he should stay with her, the matron, for 3 days, and then by turns. Hadith 148. Narrated Anas bin Malik, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, used to pass by, have sexual relation with, all his wives in one night, and at that time he had 9 wives. Hadith 149. Narrated Aisha, whenever Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, finished his Asr prayer, he would enter upon his wives and stay with one of them. One day he went to Hafsa and stayed with her longer than usual. Hadith 150. Narrated Aisha, that during his fatal ailment, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, used to ask his wives, "Where shall I stay tomorrow? Where shall I stay tomorrow?" He was looking forward to Aisha's turn. So all his wives allowed him to stay where he wished, and he stayed at Aisha's house till he died there. Aisha added, "He died on the day of my usual turn at my house. Allah took him unto him while his head was between my chest and my neck, and his saliva was mixed with my saliva." Hadith 151. Narrated Ibn Abbas, that Umar entered upon Hafsa and said, "O my daughter, do not be misled by the manners of her who is proud of her beauty because of the love of Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, for her." By her, he meant Aisha. Umar added, "Then I told that to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, and he smiled, on hearing that." Hadith 152. Narrated Ismā, some lady said, "O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. My husband has another wife, so is it sinful of me to claim that he has given me what he has not given me, in order to tease her?" Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "The one who pretends that he has been given what he has not been given, is just like the false one who wears 2 garments of falsehood." Hadith 153. Narrated Abdullāh bin Mas'ud, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "There is none having a greater sense of ghira than Allah. And for that he has forbidden the doing of evil actions, illegal sexual intercourse etc. There is none who likes to be praised more than Allah does." Hadith 154. Narrated Aisha, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "O followers of Muhammad, there is none who has a greater sense of ghira, self-respect, than Allah, so he has forbidden that his slave commits illegal sexual intercourse or his slave girl commits illegal sexual intercourse. O followers of Muhammad, If you but knew what I know, you would laugh less and weep more. Hadith 155. Narrated Ismā, I heard Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, saying, there is nothing, none, having a greater sense of Ghaira, self-respect, than Allah. And narrated Abu Hurairah that he heard the Prophet, saying the same. Hadith 156. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, Allah has a sense of Ghaira, and Allah's sense of Ghaira is provoked when a believer does something which Allah has prohibited. Hadith 157. Narrated Ismā bint Abu Bakr, when Az-Zubayr married me, he had no real property or any slave or anything else except a camel which drew water from the well, and his horse. I used to feed his horse with fodder and drew water and sew the bucket for drawing it, and prepare the dough, but I did not know how to bake bread. So our Ansari neighbors used to bake bread for me, and they were honorable ladies. I used to carry the date stones on my head from Zubayr's land given to him by Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, and this land was 2/3 farsakh, about 2 miles, from my house. One day, while I was coming with the date stones on my head, I met Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, along with some Ansari people. He called me and then, directing his camel to kneel down, said, Ik, Ik, so as to make me ride behind him, on his camel. I felt shy to travel with the men and remembered Az-Zubayr and his sense of Ghaira, as he was one of those people who had the greatest sense of Ghaira. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, noticed that I felt shy, so he proceeded. I came to Az-Zubayr and said, I met Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, while I was carrying a load of date stones on my head, and he had some companions with him. He made his camel kneel down so that I might ride, but I felt shy in his presence and remembered your sense of Ghaira. On that, Az-Zubayr said, by Allah, you're carrying the date stones, and you being seen by the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, in such a state, is more shameful to me than your riding with him. I continued serving in this way, till Abu Bakr sent me a servant to look after the horse, whereupon I felt as if he had set me free. Hadith 158. Narrated Anas, while the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, was in the house of one of his wives, one of the mothers of the believers sent a meal in a dish. The wife at whose house the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, was, struck the hand of the servant, causing the dish to fall and break. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, gathered the broken pieces of the dish and then started collecting on them the food which had been in the dish and said, your mother, my wife, felt jealous. Then he detained the servant till a sound dish was brought from the wife at whose house he was. He gave the sound dish to the wife whose dish had been broken and kept the broken one at the house where it had been broken. Hadith 159. Narrated Jabir, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, I entered paradise and saw a palace and asked whose palace is this? They, the angels, said, this palace belongs to Umar bin al-Khattab. I intended to enter it, and nothing stopped me except my knowledge about your sense of Ghaira, self-respect, O Umar. Umar said, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. Let my father and mother be sacrificed for you. O Allah's Prophet! How dare I think of my Ghaira, self-respect, being offended by you? Hadith 160. Narrated Abu Hurairah, while we were sitting with Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, he, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, while I was sleeping, I saw a woman performing ablution beside a palace. I asked, whose palace is this? It was said, this palace belongs to Umar. Then I remembered his sense of Ghaira and returned. On that, Umar started weeping in that gathering and said, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. How dare I think of my self-respect being offended by you? Hadith 161. Narrated Aisha, that Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said to her, I know when you are pleased with me or angry with me. I said, Whence do you know that? He said, When you are pleased with me, you say, No, by the Lord of Muhammad, but when you are angry with me, then you say, No, by the Lord of Abraham. Thereupon I said, Yes, you are right, but by Allah, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, I leave nothing but your name. Hadith 162. Narrated Aisha, I never felt so jealous of any wife of Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, as I did of Khadijah, because Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, used to remember and praise her too often, and because it was revealed to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, that he should give her, Khadijah, the glad tidings of her having a palace of Qasab in paradise. Hadith 163. Narrated Al-Miswar bin Makramah, I heard Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, who was on the pulpit, saying, Banu Hisham bin al-Mughira have requested me to allow them to marry their daughter to Ali bin Abu Talib, but I don't give permission, and will not give permission unless Ali bin Abi Talib divorces my daughter in order to marry their daughter, because Fatima is a part of my body, and I hate what she hates to see, and what hurts her, hurts me. Hadith 164. Narrated Anas, I will narrate to you a hadith I heard from Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, and none other than I will tell you of it. I heard Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, saying, From among the portents of the hour are the following: religious knowledge will be taken away, general ignorance, in religious matters, will increase, illegal sexual intercourse will prevail, drinking of alcoholic drinks will prevail. Men will decrease in number, and women will increase in number, so much so that 50 women will be looked after by one man. Hadith 165. Narrated Uqbah bin Amir, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, Beware of entering upon the ladies. A man from the Ansar said, Allah's Apostle, what about Ulham, the in-laws of the wife, the brothers of her husband or his nephews, etc.? The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, replied, The in-laws of the wife are death itself. Hadith 166. Narrated Ibn Abbas, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, No man should stay with a lady in seclusion except in the presence of a du mahram. A man stood up and said, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. My wife has gone out intending to perform the Hajj, and I have been enrolled, in the army, for such and such campaign. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, Return and perform the Hajj with your wife. Hadith 167. Narrated Anas bin Malik, an Ansari woman came to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and he took her aside and said, to her, By Allah, you, Ansar, are the most beloved people to me. Hadith 168. Narrated Salama, that while the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, was with her, there was an effeminate man in the house. The effeminate man said to Salama's brother, Abdullāh bin Abi Umayyah, If Allah should make you conquer Taif tomorrow, I recommend that you take the daughter of Ghailan, in marriage, for she is so fat, that she shows 4 folds of flesh when facing you and 8 when she turns her back. Thereupon the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, to us, This, effeminate man, should not enter upon you, any more. Hadith 169. Narrated Aisha, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, was screening me with his rida, garment covering the upper part of the body, while I was looking at the Ethiopians who were playing in the courtyard of the mosque. I continued watching, till I was satisfied. So you may deduce from this event how a little girl, who has not reached the age of puberty, who is eager to enjoy amusement, should be treated in this respect. Hadith 170. Narrated Aisha, once Saudah bin Zamah went out at night for some need, and Umar saw her, and recognizing her, he said, to her, By Allah, O Saudah, you cannot hide yourself from us. So she returned to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and mentioned that to him while he was sitting in my dwelling taking his supper and holding a bone covered with meat in his hand. Then the divine inspiration was revealed to him, and when that state was over, he, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, was saying, O women! You have been allowed by Allah to go out for your needs. Hadith 171. Narrated Salam's father, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, if the wife of any one of you asks permission to go to the mosque, he should not forbid her. Hadith 172. Narrated Aisha, my foster uncle came and asked permission to enter, but I refused to admit him till I asked Allah's apostle about that. He said, he is your uncle, so allow him to come in. I said, O Allah's messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. I have been suckled by a woman and not by a man. Allah's messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, he is your uncle, so let him enter upon you. And that happened after the order of al-hijab, compulsory veiling, was revealed. All things which become unlawful because of blood relations are unlawful because of the corresponding foster suckling relations. Hadith 173. Narrated Abdullāh bin Mas'ud, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, a woman should not look at or touch another woman to describe her to her husband in such a way as if he was actually looking at her. Hadith 174. Narrated Abdullāh, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, a woman should not look at or touch another woman to describe her to her husband in such a way as if he was actually looking at her. Hadith 175. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, Solomon son of, the Prophet, David said, tonight I will go round, that is, have sexual relations with, 100 women, my wives, every one of whom will deliver a male child who will fight in Allah's cause. On that, an angel said to him, say, if Allah wills. But Solomon did not say it and forgot to say it. Then he had sexual relations with them, but none of them delivered any child, except one who delivered a half-person. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, if Solomon had said, if Allah wills, Allah would have fulfilled his, above, desire, and that saying would have made him more hopeful. Hadith 176. Narrated Jabir bin Abdullāh, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, disliked that one should go to one's family at night, on returning from a journey. Hadith 177. Narrated Jabir bin Abdullāh, Allah's messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, when any one of you is away from his house for a long time, he should not return to his family at night. Hadith 178. Narrated Jabir, I was with Allah's messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, in a ghazwah, and when we returned, I wanted to hurry, while riding a slow camel. A rider came behind me. I looked back and saw that the rider was Allah's messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. He said, to me, what makes you in such a hurry? I replied, I am newly married. He said, did you marry a virgin or a matron? I replied, not a virgin but, a matron. He said, why didn't you marry a young girl with whom you could play and who could play with you? Then when we approached Medina, and were going to enter it, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, wait till you enter your homes, at night, in the first part of the night, so that the ladies with unkempt hair may comb their hair, and those whose husbands have been absent, for a long time, may shave their pubic hair. The sub-narrator, Hashim said, a reliable narrator told me that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, added in this hadith, seek to beget children. Children, O Jabir. Hadith 179. Narrated Jabir bin Abdullāh, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, if you enter your town at night, after coming from a journey, do not enter upon your family till the woman whose husband was absent from the house shaves her pubic hair, and the woman with unkempt hair combs her hair. Allah's messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, further said, O Jabir, Seek to have offspring, seek to have offspring. Hadith 180. Narrated Jabir bin Abdullāh, we were with the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, in a ghazwa, and when we returned and approached Medina, I wanted to hurry while riding a slow camel. A rider overtook me and pricked my camel with a spear which he had, whereupon my camel started running as fast as any other fast camel you may see. I looked back, and behold, the rider was Allah's messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. I said, O Allah's messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. I am newly married. He asked, have you got married? I replied, yes. He said, a virgin or a matron? I replied, not a virgin, but a matron. He said, why didn't you marry a young girl so that you could play with her and she with you? When we reached, near Medina, and were going to enter it, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, wait till you enter your home early in the night so that the lady whose hair is unkempt may comb her hair and that the lady whose husband has been away may shave her pubic hair. Hadith 181. Narrated Abu Hazim, the people differed about the type of treatment which had been given to Allah's messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, on the day of the battle of Uhud. So they asked Sahal bin Sa'd as-Sa'idi, who was the only surviving companion of the Prophet at Medina. He replied, nobody is left at Medina who knows it better than I. Fatima was washing the blood off his face and Ali was bringing water in his shield, and then a mat of date palm leaves was burnt and, the ash, was inserted into the wound. Hadith 182. Narrated Abdur Rahman bin Abbas, I heard Ibn Abbas answering a man who asked him, did you attend the prayer of Eid al-Adha or Eid al-Fitr with Allah's messenger, peace and blessings be upon him? Ibn Abbas replied, yes, and had it not been for my close relationship with him, I could not have offered it. That was because of his young age. Ibn Abbas further said, Allah's messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, went out and offered the Eid prayer and then delivered the sermon. Ibn Abbas did not mention anything about the adhan, the call for prayer, or the iqamah. He added, then the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, went to the women and instructed them and gave them religious advice and ordered them to give alms, and I saw them reaching out, their hands to, their ears and necks, to take off the earrings and necklaces, etc., and throwing it towards Bilal. Then the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, returned with Bilal to his house. Hadith 183. Narrated Aisha, Abu Bakr admonished me and poked me with his hands in the flank, and nothing stopped me from moving at that time except the position of Allah's messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, whose head was on my thigh.